Hello. I thought I'd talk about a recent customization to a guitar I made. This guitar was, I bought it for $75 on Amazon. It was called a Glary. I used it in a video already when I talked about how to set up a guitar. The first part of that video, you see the guitar and I play it a little bit before I ever do anything to it. And so then I set it all up and it played better, but I decided now I own it, I should customize it and turn it into something I like and something I like looking at and so on and so forth. And of course that's subjective, but it was for me. So in the process, I decided to start customizing it. You can go back, if you go to the playlist, under playlists, you'll find instrument builds, and that was the most recent one where I set up the guitar. However, it's one video away from this one now. So I started with a lot of different things. One, the headstock was a real weird shape, and so I actually had a piece of headstock from a broken Ovation that I just repaired. I used it as a pattern to shape this headstock, and I had to route this out and do all of that because I thought it might as well look more like an Ovation. I'm not going to label it because that would be wrong. I just wanted to do that because I thought it was more attractive. It had a red neck. If you see that on the video, it was ugly. And so I took it off and I rubbed the whole thing down with ebony stain and did the neck and everything also. I wanted to see some wood grain coming through, but keep it black like the back is. The back's kind of like an Ovation back. So that worked. I also changed the nut. You can see I altered this nut to put a 0 fret in, so there's a fret. So I just cut into the nut and shaped it, and so I could get a fret in there and in the right spot. So these are just string guides, and the strings actually go over another jumbo fret, and works really well. And I like the tone better. That was why I did it. Also helps you set up your action better. So I customized the nut. Then I started changing the top, and I thought it was some rubberized thing. It wasn't. It turned out it was just heavy paint that was sprayed on by some machine, and I didn't really care for it. So I decided I was going to take it all off. And in the process of sanding it all off, I found, wow, there's a nice spruce looking veneer on it. And that was good, but then I damaged it in the process of taking the paint off right here by the bridge. So I decided I'd give it a tobacco burst to hide my mistake and that I'm telling you about. And that's what's good about sunburst and tobacco burst. They can hide anomalies. So that was the idea. To do the burst, I should have videoed some of this, but you know, I was busy doing it, and a lot of it I just did today, to be honest with you. I used a tinted lacquer, and it had a vintage amber tint to it. So I sprayed it down so that it'd get that amber look to the wood. Then I used flat black paint, and I just sprayed it freehand. I just freehanded it to give it a burst. And the point of that was I had to cover up the damage. So it's a pretty narrow burst, but it's there. And I like the look. I'm happy enough with it. Then when I got all that done, I took the tinted amber that has the amber tinted lacquer, and I lacquered the whole thing with that amber tint to kind of give a amber-like glow even to the black and also to the binding. I just thought it would look nicer, and that's what I did. And I did the same thing to the headstock. It's got, and the neck, it's all got that amber tinted lacquer. And then after that, of course, you know, I sand everything with 1000 grit sandpaper in between coats, and then I put a clear lacquer over the neck, headstock, and the top. And so that gave it a good finish. In the process, one of the things I had to fix on this instrument was that the bridge was not straight. It had gotten moved to the side a little bit when it was glued, so the strings weren't lined up with the neck all the way. I played it in the other video. It's just they weren't perfect, and I didn't like it. So I debated whether to move the bridge or not, and I chose not to. So I took all the strings and bridge pin out and everything, and I drilled out all the old holes, plugged them with 3/8 dowling. Then I drilled new holes where they should be, and you know, tapered them and notched them. And I don't know how much you can see, but there's the bridge, and it came out, and the strings are perfect, just where I want them. So that was kind of neat. And of course I used the ebony stain again because it hides the doweling better, and it blended in pretty well, as you just saw when I held it up to the video. In the process of doing all this, of course, when they sprayed whatever they sprayed on the face of this thing in some factory in China, they got black all over the binding. And I took a razor blade and I went around and I got all the black paint. I scraped it all off with a razor blade. Very careful not to scrape the top. I did the same thing on the sides to get rid of all that black. Did the same thing everywhere. And that I did all that before I sprayed the lacquer on, obviously, and so that I could lacquer over the binding. And I did that. The other thing I did, had to put a strap button here. I changed the strap button here so I could have gold hardware with a lock-in strap. It's just something I wanted. Honestly, if you're going to play one of these round back things, my opinion, you got to have a strap. I don't right now. Well, I have them. I own them, but I'm too lazy to go get one and put it on. I'm going to play without one. But, you know, this thing's shaped a lot like me, and so when the two round sides meet, the guitar likes to go all over the place. So you want a good strap. And the last thing I did was I changed the electronics in it. I put Joyo electronics in it. It had a cheaper Chinese version electronics I talked about on the other video. My experience with the Joyo electronic, to be honest with you, is it's very good electronics. They have plenty of output and a lot of great adjustment for tone, and as well as a tuner, which I don't like the tuner in these, but you know, it's adequate. And then it has a phaser, and I do like the phaser. I like to put it on and play with it. So that's the whole shooting match. This was a $75 guitar. I didn't really, I put gold hardware on it. I just thought it would look better with black. I'll use the silver tuners somewhere else. But it had perfectly good tuners. I just wanted gold. So $75 guitar, everything I did to it, with the exception of the tuners and the brass bridge pins and the electronics, I already had. And so I might be, you know, in terms of monetary stuff, maybe $110 on the outside into this guitar, which is kind of neat. And it plays really well. I'm going to play it for you in a minute. Sounds fine, plays well. And then after I play it acoustically, I'll pause the video and I'll play it electronically. So the cube's up here over my shoulder. I'll kind of face away from the camera so that you're not hearing the acoustic guitar. You're hearing what it sounds like coming out of the amp. And then we can see what that's like. So I did change the saddle. I forgot to talk about that. It had a normal plastic saddle that had, you know, I think a lot of people call it a fender relief on the B string. I hate those personally. In any case, I wanted to change it for my preference, and I changed it. Someone else I know, a friend of mine, has one of these too. I actually gave it to her to take to Africa and give away. But I had to fix her bridge because the intonation wasn't right on the guitar. And so I did that, and then I also fixed mine. And so what I did is I just sanded off the top of that plastic bridge, keeping the radius in correct. And then I grooved it with my fret slot saw, and I laid a fret wire in it. So it's got a fret right across the top in the bridge, or in the saddle. You can kind of see that. And that changes the tone also and improves it. And I just get my finger picks, and I'll just kind of give you an idea of the acoustic sound, and then I'll plug it in, and we'll be all done here. So I probably need to slow down on the making of the videos that I do. I tend to rush right through and just do everything as fast as I can, and I try to do everything in one take and all that, and I probably should improve the quality. And we'll just go up the neck a little bit so we can see that it's clear up there. It's got good clear harmonics and everything up and down the neck. And I'll probably be using it. It sounds good plugged in. It's handy to play. I've been playing it a lot today, and I'll probably use it to do some songs, even on the channel here. So let me pause this and plug this thing in. Okay, well, here we are again, and as I said, I'm going to face the guitar away from the camera, which is really just my iPhone, and so we can hear the amp a little better. And so when you hear these instruments on my channel, I don't go to any extra trouble to try to make them sound better than they sound in the room here. You don't see me, I don't usually mic them. I could see doing that for other reasons, but I don't. I don't mic myself or anything like that. What it is my iPhone is in a stand facing me, and I've reversed the camera so that it's like almost, so I can see me as I'm talking to you, and that's it. That's what you're hearing. Just my iPhone recording me on the guitar. So you might want to keep that in mind. I don't use, there's no real filters or mics or effects or anything, other than I have plugged this directly into the cube. The cube is clean. It's just set on a clean setting. I don't have reverb or chorus or anything in that. The guitar is set, and I put the phaser on. That's it. that gives us a good idea of what it sounds like plugged in with the phaser. I kind of like that sound, that mix. It seems really loud behind my head, but as I recall, it doesn't end up like that on the videos, so we should be fine. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I apologize for not, keeping track of what I was doing while I was doing it, but I got all excited because I had a free day, and I did a lot of this work ahead of time in terms of the bridge and the setup and everything, and taking the paint off. I did all that stuff over time, and I kept setting it up and playing it and figured out how I wanted it. But then last night I actually plugged the old holes to move the bridge pins. I plugged those holes last night, sanded it, re-drilled it, stained it, and this morning I went out and I did all the finish work. So the sunburst, I did all that today. The gold tinted lacquer, everything, I did all that today. Getting all the paint off of the binding, I did that today. It went pretty well. Let's see, it's 10 minutes to 7 right now, and I've actually been sitting around in here playing this guitar, getting the strings on it. One thing I didn't mention is these are the old strings I had on it before I worked on it today. They're not new strings. In fact, one of them broke because when you take strings on and off, they die. They just do. And that's what these did, and it broke, and I just cut the end of an old string off, and I tied the string onto the ball end of another guitar string that was an old string, and I used it to hook everything up. So, and you know what? It works. It's in tune. It's holding its tune. It sounds good. And I'll play these strings a little while longer before I put new ones on it, to be honest with you. So you may even see that goofy green ball end on my headstock in the next video I use this guitar for, which will probably be a song or something. So till then, the Lord bless you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. You can make something nice out of anything, I guess, and I was pretty happy for the investment, a $75 original investment in parts. I'm about $110. And just my time, which wasn't as extensive as you might have thought. And I have this nice little thing that looks like an Ovation and plays really well and is easy to travel with. I guess if anything happens to it, it didn't break the bank, I could do it again. Well, Lord bless you. We'll see you later.